Last statement about what's going on here? Nothing?
No.
Because it seems like it was pretty good family business. Another guy just pulled out in the Imminent competition.
Good for him, bro. Why are you guys pocket watching, man? Leave the fucking people alone.
Because this is taxpayers' dollars that are paying for all this stuff.
Okay. What the fuck is the that ass just working, bro?
With taxpayers' dollars receiving money from Medicare, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, you name it. And it just seems like a lot of people are getting rich off of
I'm busy, bro. I have work.
the death of old people.
Okay.
What do you do for work here?
Bro.
It's sad to think about it. Here in the United States, we're literally being defrauded by people who are taking advantage of old people, young people in daycares, disabled people with autism clinics, and no one's doing anything to stop it. So I think it's time we stand up to these fraudsters and tell them, let them know, you are stealing from everyday American citizens. People can't afford homes, rents are expensive, their insurance is expensive, everything's getting more and more expensive. And if we don't crack down on this fraud, national debt's going to continue going up. This is just one of the factors that affects the national debt, and we're going to lose the value of our own dollar. So people, if they want to really fight to keep America great, a great way to do it is by fighting fraud, because this is just unbelievable. You have people who drive around in BMWs, M8 competitions, Mercedes. Meanwhile, everyday American citizens are struggling to be able to afford their own bills.
Patriots, I'm at Restored Republic via a GCR update for Thursday, March 26, 2026, compiled by Judy Byington. The world's financial system, mainstream media, governments, we're all about to crash. EBS, martial law across the globe, imminent. Pray, prepare, trust the plan. Judy note, on Wednesday, March 25th, the notification from the emergency broadcast system was, be prepared for EBS activation and martial law. 1 million White Hat troops stand guard as the EBS Starlink satellite system overrides all signals. Cell phones, TV, radio, and internet asking you to stay at home for 10 to 12 days while the Global Military Alliance makes mass arrests across the globe of treasonous Satan-worshipping deep state. After the 10 to 12 days, wake up to a new, improved financial, political, health, and education systems. Be prepared with food, essentials, and cash as banks close. ATMs won't work. It has been said that 7 trumpets will soon sound out over every phone or earth calling us to stay at home for that 10 to 12 days of exposure about how Trump's global military alliance has overcome the deep state banker Illuminati control over our lives that has been going on for centuries. Some of that exposure came out on Wednesday, March 25th, as Federal Chairman Jerome Powell was confronted and asked to explain why we had a fiat U.S. dollar and there was no gold in Fort Knox. He admitted, we print money out of nothing. Another revelation came from Health Department Director Robert Kennedy Jr. when he said that Tony Fauci knew that remdesivir would kill you. A third, not so surprising intel revealed that Democrats claimed FEMA had no money for victims of disasters in Maui, California, Ohio, Louisiana, North Carolina, though had an extra $1 billion to spend on illegal aliens. President Trump was ready to shatter this deep state control at every level. From nameless bureaucrats to power-drunk legislators to corrupted intelligence operatives, Trump wants a complete dismantling of the deep state infrastructure, judicial, bureaucratic, intelligence, and legislative. He was doing it not for politics, but for one reason: to restore a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Trump's Q plan to save the world included Israel. It has always been touted that Israel would be last. The deep state banker Zionist cabal has pledged to exterminate the Palestinian people by way of convincing those of the Jewish faith that they could have complete control of Israel for their Zion by exterminating the Israelis. The Israeli plight has been overlooked for too long. The below email was recently received from Mazin Kimsia, Professor Emeritus, full-time volunteer, PalestineNature.org. He explains the Palestine side of the story. Dear Judy, the horrors in Gaza, Lebanon, and Iran go on. The remaining 2 million people of the Gaza Strip, 50% children, suffer cold weather and rain, hunger and diseases in shabby tents, and many with no shelter. I could write a whole book about the surviving friends I know there. Chaim, having lost an eye to an Israeli bullet, takes care of a child and a mother who suffered a stroke and has limited access to medical services. Islam's mother died from injuries sustained earlier. Sakar laments loss of his parents under the rubble. Yasser proudly sent me a picture of meager bean harvest grown around his tent. Here in the West Bank, settler programs continue, as does the stealing of land, including in my own village of Beit Sahur, the Shepherd's Field. The cruel apartheid Epstein regime marches on with partnership of Western governments. Zionism is repeating what was done to Palestine and Lebanon, targeting hospitals, schools, ambulances, and other civilian structures, and ethnically cleansing the population. More bombs dropped on 8 countries in 2.5 years than all of World War II. The U.S. empire is being sacrificed at the altar of Zionism. Wars make the rich richer and the poor poor. The world is upside down. Right is wrong and wrong is right. The struggle remains between the masses and the elites who run the governments and collaborate by bribes and blackmail with Zionist ambitions to enslave the world. But so many people keep the hope alive by actions. Keep the hope alive. Mazim Kimsia, Professor Emeritus, full-time volunteer, PalestineNature.org. Candles in the Darkness, Join Israeli Apartheid Week, Resources, Tools, and More. And there's a link, Tehran's Toxic Cloud. Satellite images show oily fires burned for days. That's from The Guardian. Israel dropped charges against 5 of its soldiers, terrorists who were videotaped raping a Palestinian prisoner with a broomstick. Oh, God. Here is a report by one human rights group on conditions of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli torture prisons. The torture of thousands of prisoners continues. Tel al-Sultan, Gaza, Israeli soldiers massacre 15 aid workers. The International Society for Ecological Economics webinar, Ecocide in the Palestinian Lands, Professor Mazin Kimsia. There's a YouTube link. The Palestinian drive to remain on their land. After traveling to occupied Palestine, AFMN contributor Samer Hassan reflects on how Samud was portrayed in the words and actions of Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, Professor Mazin Kimsia, and Johara Baker. And we have a URL and human rights newsletter link. In other news, on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026, Jasara Nasara law activation will ensure that people worldwide will be debt-free from the deep state Satan-worshipping Illuminati who have had control of the global monetary system since at least 1913. The clandestine cabal, comprising the mega-rich elites, has not only controlled the world's financial institutions, but also controlled the media narrative that shaped our perceptions. An imminent black swan financial event, along with the help of the global military alliance, was expected to dismantle their stranglehold and sparked 209 countries transition to gold asset-backed XLM and XRP digital currencies. According to President Trump with his Q movement, the old fiat debt-driven monetary regime has been fully dismantled. The quantum financial system, an asset-backed satellite-secured immutable ledger architecture, now governs all global Tier 1 through 4 settlement networks. All illegitimate debts, including mortgages, credit cards, student loans, and fraudulent national obligations, are flagged for forensic audit and immediate discharge. Precious metals and tokenized historical bonds have been reconciled on the QFS master ledger. JASARA compliance treaties have entered irreversible execution, ensuring full enforcement across all jurisdictions. Trump's Q movement was also set to unveil deep state false flags, Tesla free energy, and revolutionary medbeds that were so effective that the world would have little need for traditional medical treatment and pharmaceuticals. On Tuesday, March 24, 2026, it was revealed that in a coordinated White Hat overnight operation, U.S. Special Forces had raided multiple hidden underground facilities tied to Hillary Clinton. What they found was beyond anything we could have imagined. Live adrenochrome harvesting labs with dozens of rescued child victims. Video archives of satanic rituals featuring top elites and world leaders. Documents detailing cloned politicians replacing real leaders for decades. Suppressed free energy tech and mind control devices designed to keep humanity enslaved forever. Emergency broadcasting system on Telegram. In the past few days, Maui and all of Hawaii has been hit by record-breaking storms and floods. The capital of the Hawaiian people, Lahaina, Maui, is still unable to rebuild from complete devastation 2.5 years ago. Thousands of homeless were still living on the beaches. Please pray for Maui and all of Hawaii. Global currency reset on February 20th, 2026. The U.S. Congress and President Trump approved the quantum financial system and the primary financial system for the nation, with global activation including release of JASARA funds set for Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. On Friday, March 27th, 2026, the QFS goes live. Tier 4B notifications are already queued. The 800 numbers have been tested. The redemption centers are staffed. The deals are signed. The gold has moved. They have migrated the ledger. $23 trillion in U.S. debt. $8 trillion in offshore accounts. Every transaction, every loan, every dark money transfer since 1971. All of it moved from the old system to the new one. Friday, March 27th is a deadline for the Federal Reserve when the QFS goes live and when gold trades not in dollars but in quantum verified weight. Mr. Poole, final chapter on Telegram. Thursday, April 2nd, 2026, notification to set appointments. The overwhelming majority of my bond people are telling me that they will be done between now and April 2nd. The overwhelming majority of my groups and banking contacts believe they will go between the 2nd of April and the 15th of April. I don't know the timing, but that is what they are being told. Mark Z on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. Tuesday, March 24th, 2026, Wolvie says that bondholders are receiving notifications. He hopes for Tier 4B notifications today or tomorrow. Payments will start on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. We were waiting for ISO 20022 to happen, and it has, and it is working very well, Wolvie says. It has been 100% successful. A lady at a bank called Wolvie crying, saying, "This is the news we have been waiting for." Wolvie cannot say more due to NDAs. In a few days, he will be fully under NDA and will be overseas. Forwarded from Ginger Doucette. Tuesday, March 24th, Bruce, the big call. There's a link to that post. Bondholders were anticipating an email tomorrow morning, Wednesday, March 25th, telling them what is in their accounts and would get access to the account that afternoon. Tier 4B could get notifications to set appointments by Friday the 27th or Saturday, March 28th. A contact in the U.S. Treasury said Tier 4B would be notified by the end of the month. New global financial system. Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Breaking. Gold explodes 2% after 4-month low. Economic war. Markets respond to Trump's Iran strategy. Oil plunges. Fed shakes. 25th March 2026. AMG News. Wednesday, March 25th. Boom. Scott Bessent. Trump is waging economic war on British-controlled central banks. It's happening behind the missiles. Video. AMG News. And Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, boom, Fed exposed. We print money out of nothing. Fed Chair Jerome Powell caught admitting the scam. Video, AMG News. cellular energy by optimizing the electrical potential of our membranes. In a world full of wireless signals and digital static, sometimes the most high-tech thing you can do for your health is go back to the most low-tech element of all, the earth beneath your feet.
But if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment, if they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before. President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
Wars, Wars, and Rumors of Wars, Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. New reports indicate Saudi Arabia and the UAE are preparing to join with the United States and enter the conflict against Iran following constant attacks on Gulf energy and infrastructure.
to give an update on the Operation Epic Fury, which is an appropriate name because we are absolutely obliterating them. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been hitting Iran's military capabilities at a level that few people have ever seen before. People never knew there was such a capability. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world by far. I built it during my first administration, and I used it during my second administration. Unfortunately, because I'd rather not have to use it. But it's a display of force and precision and skill like nothing the world has really witnessed, although you get a pretty good witnessing of it in Venezuela also. So we estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission. 26 days in, we're really a lot ahead of schedule. The Iranian regime is now admitting to itself that they have been decisively defeated. They're saying to people, this is a disaster. They know it. That's why they're talking to us. They wouldn't talk otherwise. But they're talking to us because they've got a disaster in their hands. They're defeated. They can't make a comeback. They said yesterday that we weren't negotiating with them, and now they admit that we were negotiating with them. So they want to make a deal. The reason they want to make a deal is they have been just beat to shit.
Checkmate.